figure. At first the sirens sounded as if they were somewhere off in the distance, but they were fast, becoming louder and louder. From the noise it sounded like an entire fleet of police cars was speeding towards Raj's shop. Jack's eyes darted towards the newsagent accusingly. "I didn't call them, I promise," said Raj. "Mum must have," uttered the boy. With no time to lose, he grabbed his grandfather's arm and hurried him towards the door. "Wing Commander, we need to get out of here, now!" But as they raced out into the dark, it was too late. They were surrounded. Brakes shrieked as a dozen or so police cars trapped Jack and Grandpa in a semicircle. There were blinding lights and a deafening voice. "Put your hands up," shouted one of the policemen. The pair did what they were told. "It's straight to a prison of war camp for me." "Caldead's castle." "No, my luck." "Take care, old boy. See you back in Blixty," whispered Grandpa. Raj bawled them out. He had attached his white handkerchief to a curly whirly and waved it like a flag of surrender. "Please don't shoot. I have just had the front of my shop redecorated." Jack's parents must have been travelling in one of the police cars, because now they broke through the line of officers. The pair ran towards their son and embraced him. "We were so worried about you," said Dad. "I am sorry," said Jack. "I didn't mean to worry you." "Well, we were worried, Jack," replied Mum, softening at the sight of her son. "What's going to happen to Grandpa?" asked the boy. "They can't send him to prison." "No," replied Mum. "None of us want that, not even the police. I called the nice Mr. Vicar tonight. Grandpa's very lucky. By some miracle, he had secured a place for him at the old folks' home, Twilight Towers." Right on cue, a shadowy figure steps out of one of the police cars, with the bright glare of the headlights behind her. At first, all Jack could make out was her silhouette. She was a short, stocky lady, with what looked like a nurse hat on her head and a cape dragged over her shoulders. "Who are you?" demanded Jack. At a slow pace, the figure walked towards him. Her high-heeled boots echoed on the cold, wet pavement. When she finally reached him, her face contoured into a pantomime of a smile. Her eyes were small and mean, and her nose upturned, as if she was sticking it against a window. "Ah, you must be young Jack," she said brightly. Her voice was light, but Jack could tell there was darkness lurking in her words. "I had a call from the charming Revered Hogg. The vicar and I are so close. We share a concern for the elderly of this town." "I said, who are you?" repeated the boy. "My name is Miss Swine. I am the matron of Twilight Towers, and I've come to take your grandfather away," purred the lady.
Chapter 27. Behind Enemy Lines. From his RAF training, Grandpa knew very well how to evade capture behind enemy lines. Every pilot had to. The chances of being shot down over occupied territory were high. Together, he and Jack kept off the main roads and stayed out of the glare of the street lamps. When it was dark enough, the pair scaled a wall at the nearest London train station and climbed up on the roof of the train they needed. Freezing cold and clinging on for dear life, they rode all the way back home. Why do we need to be up here, Wing Commander?" asked Jack, shivering as he spoke. "If I know the Gestapo, they will have already boarded the train and be checking every passenger's identification papers, looking for us. We are much safer up here." Just then, behind Grandpa, Jack saw the train was speeding into a tunnel. "Get down!" shouted the boy. The old man looked around and then flattened his body next to Jack's on the roof of the carriage. Just in time. When they had passed through the tunnel, Grandpa pushed himself up on his knees. "Thank you, squadron leader," he said. "That was a very close shave." At that moment, a low branch of a tree whacked him on the back of the head. "Ow! Are you all right, sir?" "Yes, I am fine, old boy," replied Grandpa. "Darned enemy putting that blasted branch there." Jack was pretty sure Mr. Hitler and his Nazi friends had very little to do with it, but he let the comment pass. It was close to midnight when they finally arrived at the station. Soon after, they reached Granpas Road. The plan was to hide out in the old man's flat for a while. After all that had happened at the Imperial War Museum and Scotland Yard, the boy thought it was best he didn't go to the family home. To Jack's surprise, there was a light on in Raj's shop. The newsagent was still up, taking in the bundles of tomorrow's newspapers that had just been dropped off outside. The boy knew that they could trust Raj just as well, as he and his grandfather were now on the run from the police. "Raj," called Jack. The newsagent looked into the darkness. "Who goes there?" The pair tiptoed along the street. They stayed close to the wall, avoiding the light. It was a few moments before the newsagent could see them. "Jack, Mr. Bunting!" He gave a very bad case of the willies. "Sorry, Raj. We didn't want to frighten you. We just didn't want to be seen, that's all," said the boy. "Why?" "It's a long story, Charwalla," replied Grandpa. "I look forward to telling you over a few pints of ale in the officers' mess." "I am so pleased you were found safe and well, sir," exclaimed the newsagent. The car turned into the road. The headlamps shone on them. "We'd better get inside," said Jack. Yes, of course," replied Raj. Come in, and bring a bundle of newspapers in for me, please."